Hey, so I'm just making a quick video because I was feeling nostalgic and was playing Runescape again, and I found a cool application that you can actually use Python for within Runescape. So I'm just going to show you that real quick. So basically, in the game there's this thing called woodcutting, and woodcutting is just a great source for, XP and gold in general. The only issue is that there's a lot of RNG when it comes to it, so when it comes to the amount of logs you get per tree, how quickly it gets cut down, and the time it takes for it to regenerate. You're also having to deal with other players chopping it down with you, and in that case it cuts down quicker. And then you always have to go back to this bank here and then deposit all the logs every time your inventory fills up. So it's a lot of a hassle for grinding. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get all of the logs, and you're actively playing this whole time. But I did find a cool way where you can kind of autonomize it a bit. So if we jump into the code here, let's just go ahead and run it real quick just so I can show you what it does. Basically, we're starting off here, we're turning on Do Not Disturb just because I found out that notifications kind of screw up the clicking a little bit. You'll see later on we're clicking in the top right hand corner of the screen, so if notifications pop up, it kind of gets in the way. So just throw on Do Not Disturb using that quick program. And then it's actually going to take us here, it's going to type in our password, log us in, and these waiting times that the code has, it's a little longer than we'd want. This is just because we have varying loading times based on our network, based on our computer that we're doing it on. I'm doing it on a laptop, so it is a little bit slower. But it's also going to join the world here, and then boom, we're in. And again, it's going to wait a little bit longer after we're in just to make sure that we have enough time, because as you can see, it does take a while to fully load in. But there we go, we're in. The first thing it's going to do is actually adjust the camera. So no matter how we leave the game, it actually always points us north, but it will keep us as zoomed in or as zoomed down as we were before, as well as the angle vertically. So we just want to make that standard by going all the way up and then by zooming all the way out. And then it's basically just going to automatically cut this tree here by clicking it every 5 seconds. I have it set to a 5-second cycle. Obviously we can speed that up if we want to be more efficient. I just don't want my laptop to be having to click every 5 seconds, or every second. So we're going to have it do every 5 seconds. As you can see, we're speeding up here, clicking every 5 seconds. And the second our inventory fills up, it's going to stop clicking. And at the end of that 5-second cycle, it's going to know that the inventory is full. It's going to take us all the way over to the bank over here, deposit our logs, and then take us back using the map in the top right. Again, it is usually a little bit quicker. I am recording using QuickTime right now, so it might be a little bit slower on the load times, or I can always adjust it. We're kind of sitting in the bank there a little bit longer than I'd like to, but easy adjustment. And as you can see, my guy also said the number of trips he's done so far. So right now we've done 1 trip, and the point there was just so if I leave the room, if I leave my laptop on, I can come back and open up the chat and just see, how many trips he's done. So again, fast forward here, he's going to do the same thing. He finishes getting his last log, and then he's going to run over and deposit it in the bank again. There we are. And as you can see, we're going to use the map, and he's going to say that we have 2 trips completed now. And this is basically an endless cycle until we want to stop. And you're going to see me do that right here. It's pretty simple. I have it set up so all we have to do to stop it is just click the little inventory here to close the inventory. And the second our inventory is closed, at the end of the next 5-second cycle, he's going to know we're done. He's going to deposit the rest of the logs here. And he does know that it's not a complete inventory, so he's not going to tell us that we have another trip complete, because that kind of misleads us or misguides us, thinking that we have more logs than we do. He's going to go back to our starting position here, and then it's going to log us out. It's also going to open up the inventory one last time, just that way when we log back in, we know that the inventory is open, and we'll go into depth on why that is later on. But boom, there we go. We're going to log out. We're going to turn Do Not Disturb back off, and then we're going to exit out fully, and boom, we are back in the code. So yeah, pretty quick and easy. So we can just leave that on for as long as we want, and it's really efficient. So jumping in the code here, we're just going to start off. As you can see, I do have Pinput installed. Basically, this gives us the luxury of having Python controller keyboard as well as our mouse. So we want to install that. We also have our password here. I took my password out, obviously, because I don't want you guys to see it, but basically just enter in your password. We're going to use it later. But jumping into the actual code here, we are going to use operating system, time, and random functions, so those are easy to import. We're also going to just go ahead and set up our keyboard as well as our mouse. The important thing here is that we saved keyboard and we saved mouse under variables so we can use them later on. And then boom. So next we're going to have the tab function here. I did use tab a bit later on, so I just made a quick and easy step by having the keyboard press tab and having a little bit of a delay before and after the tabs, just so everything's not clicking at once. I also have this optimized click function, so basically all it's doing is it's going to wait a quick second, again, so not everything's happening at once. And then we're going to go ahead and press the left button, release the left button, and then have a little delay if we want. We can always set it to 0. Right click is the same exact thing. The only difference here is that we have a left click versus a right click. So jumping into this big giant function, this was kind of a pain in the butt. It's kind of a mess. It's just a series of clicking on the screen in certain spots as well as typing. Pretty self-explanatory here. I think it's just easier just to show you what it's doing itself. So if we jump into here, you're going to see it's actually clicking the Apple icon. It's opening up system preferences, going into the top right and typing in do not disturb to search it up. That way we can pull it up directly instead of having to find it. And then it's going to tab over. It's going to change the times that we have available for do not disturb, 4 a.m. to 3:59 a.m. It's going to turn it on and exit out. And the reason for this is just because I don't want do not disturb ending. I don't have the new Mac, so my do not disturb you can't have on indefinitely, which is a little annoying. So I just have that set up, that way we can have it on from 4 a.m. till 3:59 a.m. But yeah, so moving on though, we also have the turn off function. This one's a little bit easier because we don't have to go into system preferences like that. We're just going to open up this sidebar here. It's going to pull it out, and then we can turn off do not disturb, nice and easy like that. And that happens at the end. You'll see us use that later on. Anyway, into the good stuff of the program here, we're going to start off by turning on do not disturb and then opening up Runescape, and that's just using the OS function that we imported earlier on. And then we're going to wait 15 seconds for it to load up. Again, if you have a faster computer, you can shorten that time. If you have a slower one, you can lengthen it. Really easy adjustment though. And then from here, it's pretty simple again. We're just selecting coordinates on the screen. So this password box is at 665x and 438y. So it's basically going to click the password box. It's going to type in using the keyboard, or it's going to type in the password that we saved earlier. It's going to click the login button. Sometimes the login button is a little wonky, so I'll have it clicking it twice just in case it doesn't work. And then as you can see, it's giving us 15-ish seconds for it to load. Again, varies on network. As well as the play now button, same deal, give us time to load in. But then starting up, once we're actually in the world, you're going to see that we have these 4 functions. And again, you guys saw the adjust camera up as well as the zoom out. Those ones were pretty obvious. But what you're not seeing is we're actually using a function called ImageGrab as well, and those are taking little screenshots. So we have 2 little screenshots. One screenshot is of the bag icon, and when it's open, you'll see that it's outlined in yellow. And when it's closed, it's not outlined at all. So basically the idea here is that we can compare it later on. When we do close the inventory, we can see that it's not highlighted yellow anymore, and then the system knows that our inventory is closed and knows that we want to end the program. Same thing with our inventory empty here. We're taking a screenshot of our empty inventory in the very beginning because we know it's empty. It's taking a picture of the bottom right slot, and since it's blank, it knows that when it takes a screenshot later and there's a log there, it knows that the inventory is full. And then we get into our while loop here. We're going to continue this entire process while that inventory slot is highlighted yellow. So while we're in there, we're going to go ahead and assign our inventory current is equal to our inventory empty because we know that our inventory is empty in the very beginning of the program. So from here, we're going to go ahead and start our chopping. It's going to click on this center spot of the screen where the tree is every 5 seconds. Again, if we want to make it more efficient, we just change this 5 to a lower number. It's just going to make our computer work a little bit more. And then we're going to go ahead and take another screenshot of that same coordinate in the bottom right hand corner of the inventory slot to see if it changes. So basically, when we get a log in that bottom right slot in our inventory, aka when it's full, we're going to know that when inventory current takes the screenshot. And then it's going to check the while loop again. Inventory current is this time going to be different from inventory empty, since inventory empty was taken in the very beginning of an empty inventory. So from here we know that our inventory is full, and we know that we can move on with the process and be done with this nested while loop. So from here, pretty simple again, we're just going to go ahead and right click the deposit box. Since we are in the same frame every single time we start this, because we zoomed all the way out and we adjust the camera in the very beginning, we know exactly where the deposit box is going to be. In this case, it's at 956x and 70y. So we're going to go ahead and right click. From here, I just have the cursor moving down a little bit, waiting, and then moving down again, and actually clicking the deposit all button. For some reason, it just works a little bit more efficiently for me. I don't know if it's my computer or what's going on, but this just seemed to work. I used to use this function right here where I literally just click the exact coordinate, but it was sometimes not working exactly how I wanted it to, so I just stuck with the move cursor twice and then keep it going. You know, either way, it's still ridiculously fast, so it doesn't really matter which method you go with. I just found that this one worked a little bit quicker, so I just wanted to go ahead and keep it like that. Next, we're just going to wait 9 seconds for our guy to get over there. And this is where we're going to check to see if our inventory is still open or not. So it's going to take another screenshot. It's going to compare it from the one we took in the very beginning. If our inventory no longer has that yellow bar highlighted around it, we know that we closed the inventory and the system knows we want to end. You'll notice too that when we close our inventory, there's no longer that empty slot. And so even though it's taking a screenshot within that nested while loop, even though there's not logs there, it still thinks that it's different and it still thinks we're done with our cycle, which means that we don't have to worry about him finishing the inventory full before he can go up and then we can log down. It'll have him immediately, as soon as we turn off the inventory at the end of that 5-second cycle, he's going to go up, think our inventory is full, and go ahead and deposit the logs, get back to the spot, and then we can leave. From here, it's straightforward. We just click on the spot on the map where we want him to head back. Again, since the orientation is all the same, we can click the exact same spot on the mini-map in the top right and it'll take us back to the same spot every time. In this case, it's right in front of the tree. That way it's right where we need to be to continue the process. This is just where that goofy little thing is where it tells us how many trips we've done. And then this stuff is just some stupid stuff here. RuneScape has this cool little feature where if you do your color with the colon or an effect with the colon, that you can actually change the way the text looks. So just a little cool little thing. Whenever I have 6 to 10 trips or 11 plus, it's going to do something cool. Just make it a little more fun. And then this last part here is pretty easy. It's just pressing enter because then we can actually send the number of trips that we've made in the chat. And then we're going to wait 9 seconds for us to return to the tree, and then it's going to head back up to the top of the loop. And again, it's going to check one more time to see if our inventory status is still open. If it's not, it's going to end the loop. If it is, we're going to go on a continuous cycle. That being said, once we're done, we're just going to go through this quick little while loop. Only reason I haven't done while loop here is because sometimes the clicking is a little wonky. So basically what this is just doing here is it's clicking our inventory slot to turn it back on. It's going to take a screenshot after the mouse moves out of the way just to see if it's different or if it's the same as the beginning. Once it's the same as the beginning, we know that the inventory is back open again and we are free to log out. That way when we log back in, the inventory will be open. Then from there, we're just going to open up options. We're going to hit log out. I have it hitting log out twice just because sometimes for me, for some reason, the clicking wouldn't work and I had to hit it twice. Activate that do not disturb off sequence and then finish by exiting out. And yeah, this last little part here is just to tell us in the code how many trips we did and how many logs that equaled to. Not really that important, not really that cool, but in case we end the program and didn't check, we can always just see at the bottom of the Python code and it'll tell us. But yeah, if you're interested in downloading this, I am going to drop a link to my programming portfolio in the description of this YouTube video. If you're watching this on my programming portfolio, then obviously the link to the project is right below. But yeah, feel free to check it out, earn some gold, and get level 99 woodcutting.